Hi there, thanks so much for joining me. I'm Amy Kunkel, blogger and crafter at crazybeautiful.com, and I'm going to show you today how to make a card similar to this, but I want to step it up. Now, you might be familiar with the stepping up concept. It's just adding a little bit extra onto your card to make it have a little bit more of a wow factor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this card aside. It's photographed and posted on my blog. I'll leave the link in the description. And one of the easiest ways to step up a card is to add an additional layer for a mat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to still have a white card base because I really do want to keep this clean and simple. But I'm going to use this white as a mat underneath my elements. So I will put the dimensions on the screen for these. I'm going to do the bottom two edges, and this is my Project Life by Stampin' Up! Corner Rounder. So go ahead and crease that fold, and you're going to want to do the back side as well. So you can kind of do it upside down so that you can see it. That is always very helpful. And then this mat will go on like this, raised up a bit. And I'm going to show you the pieces. Now, color blocking is kind of a fun technique, really not new at all to stamping, but I grabbed a couple strips in my scrap drawer, and they're all about 1 3/4 wide. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this side down. So I'll put a little sketch of this over on my blog. I know a lot of you know that I'm an architect also. So I really do love sketching it out and showing you the mechanics of the card. So I'm going to sketch that up for you and put it over on my blog, but what I'm going to do is just cut these pieces down so that they fit like this on my mat here. Okay, so here are my panels laid out how I'm going to have them, and I'm going to flip that over. Sometimes if you don't have a sharp cutting blade on your trimmer, you get a little bit of a rough edge on one side. So that's how we're going to do that. And then I'm going to actually tuck them a little closer in at the middle, and that will allow me to have a little bit more than 1/8 of an inch edge to do my faux stitching. So I'm going to grab my stamps, and we're going to emboss. We're going to stamp and emboss our pieces. So I'm going to grab my stamp set. This is Santa's Gifts from Stampin' Up! Super fun photopolymer, which means it's completely clear. And I'm just going to put each one of these on their own block. So I'm going to use Rudolph, the Christmas tree, and the present. You just want to make sure that you use your embossing buddy and get the static off these. Because you're doing such a small piece, it's just easier to make sure you don't have a lot of residue on your paper after you sprinkle your embossing powder. I'll just show you one and do the rest off camera, but this one's going to be Santa. And I don't need them all on there, I just want the idea, right? So I'm going to emboss them in clear, and then I have a clipboard that I have covered in aluminum foil here. This just helps me keep it so that I don't get burned. I've got all my pieces embossed, And I'm just going to lay them out kind of where I envision them. I mentioned I was going to have a slightly more narrow center here. Let me zoom in a tiny bit. So when you're adding your adhesive, you just want to make sure to get the edges, because you have such small pieces and they've also been embossed and heated. You want to make sure they cooperate and the edges stay down. Now that we've got everything embossed, we are going to set this aside. These have all been attached. And we will stamp, let's stamp the bottom. I've got my Versatile Christmas stamp set. And I'm just going to put Merry Christmas on here, and then on the inside I'm going to do the Wishing You a Season of Gladness. So just so I don't forget, I'm going to do that first. And then this. Sometimes with these I like to stamp off onto my grid paper just to make sure that it's straight and kind of where I think it's going. Looks good. And I'm just going to stamp on the bottom here. And I'm going to add, instead of twine, I'm just going to step this up a little bit by using some of my silver cording. And I'll wrap it around and tie it, and then I think I'll probably end up using a glue dot to hold it into place. I'm going to add my stitching before I put this on. And I'm just using my fine tip Project Life pen. You can use any marker for this. I'll show you how I put this glue dot underneath, and then I'm just going to kind of turn the bow to where I want it and stick it down. Okay, so that's pretty much the best way to handle that cording that has a little bit of a mind of its own, but is very pretty. I'm going to add this panel on with dimensionals, and that will give me that little bit extra dimension here on my card. And then I've got a couple of my dazzling details, and I'm going to just add some bling on this. Now when you get this out for the first time, you want to just get this started on something else to make sure it's coming out nicely for you. And that's kind of the rule with any of these glitter glue things. You don't want to have it explode on your card. So I'm going to add some red right here to really accentuate Rudolph's nose. And I'm going to add some silver up here. And you could do this with rhinestones also, especially if you're in a hurry. You could add some rhinestones onto here. There we go. So I think that glitter has really stepped it up a bit. And here is my finished card. So not a whole lot more complicated than the original. So just a couple more steps and a few more embellishments on this one. So I hope you have enjoyed my cards today. Please make sure to subscribe and let me know in the comments if you have enjoyed this and maybe what other techniques and cards you would like to see. So thanks so much. Have a great day. Bye.